Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. The negative power of needy. And this is important for so many levels, but one, it's like primarily understanding these moments when we do this behavior so we can stop it. I've got ways we can kind of stop it, got ways to maybe hopefully identify it, and most importantly, one of the coolest things about needing something. How many of you guys have ever been out there? You've been manifesting, right? You're working on manifesting something, a bottle of water, $1 on the street, some sort of something stupid, right? Thought about it a few times, something you maybe played with, like my infamous beach ball. I keep seeing damn beach balls everywhere, but whatever. It's just part of life I accept now. They're everywhere. Don't ever use that as an example in my life anyway. But that thing, it's just easy. You don't even think about it. You don't care. You have no attachment to it. Just trying to prove whether or not manifesting works, or even on some occasions, whoops, I was thinking about that the other day. Dang. And so now all of a sudden, X is in my life, right? So these things happen all the time. But the funny thing is when we don't care, when we don't have any attachment to it, when we don't need it, when it doesn't matter, we manifest it like that, like nothing, like weren't even trying, like instantly almost. What the? But for some reason, when it's really important, it's almost like evasive, right? Sometimes it's like, it's like I'm holding on with one tip, right? Like you can't, no matter what you try to do, you can't grab it. And that's maybe by design, maybe the very nature of needing something creates this level where it's now separated from you. See, ultimately, it's all us in the big picture. You're manifesting a life for yourself. And you've got many friends and families and everyone else that want to be a part, want to be actors in your play, and are happy to do that. So we got to decide what's going on around us. It's our lives to hold. So when we place something that's actually kind of fake, just go with me for a sec, but it's part of this whole outward thing, and we place a level of importance on it, rather than understanding that I can create whatever I want, whatever brings desires in my life, if there is such, like, whatever it is. Like, this comes from inside of me. If it's happiness, wow, he makes me happy, she makes me happy. If it's financial, if it's maybe just companionship, maybe it's afraid no one will ever look at you the same way that this person looked at you. Maybe there's this sense of, I don't know if I'll ever love like this again. Whatever the case is, it's usually a lack of trust, a fear of abandonment, just plain fear in general. Kind of, in a nutshell, from those that are not quarterback couch shrinks. I did some research on this. I was trying to pull up some real people's opinions, and kind of a lot of the general approach is that, yeah, this is what's going on. You're afraid you're going to be abandoned, afraid someone's going to cheat on you, lie, steal, whatever, right? Like, I'm afraid. And so because of that, I become clingy. I become needy. I always want to be around. I always want to know what's going on. I text too much because I'm afraid if I let go too long, they'll forget about me. And if they forget about me, then they'll do what they did last time. Or they'll do to me what guy X did to me once. And that's what a lot of us have. We have hurts in the past. Something happened. Maybe it was a parent. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was the first person you loved. Maybe it was the first person you trusted. Who knows? First person you played doctor with? Hey now. Who knows? But something caused this fear trigger in ourselves. Something is able to cause us to doubt every single thing that we just did the day before, when we did affirmations and we did imagined from the end, we did what if, we whatever. I was scripted, so many of them. I don't know why I can't just rattle off like 50 of them. I literally have to go and do research. There's so freaking many of them. It's just funny. So a lot of us don't catch this. We don't see this neediness. that happens with us, this fear. The cycle starts to happen. We start to be afraid of what it is that, whatever it is that we're afraid of, whatever it is that's happened before, whatever it is that frightens us dearly. Because of that fear, we do everything in our power to squeeze even tighter, to hold on even closer, to even try harder. Must be something I'm doing. I gotta do more. I hear it so often from people. What am I doing wrong? I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, but still, no dice. You're not doing anything wrong. Problem is maybe there's a little too much energy on the importance of this thing. It can cause problems. One, I've talked about thought transmissions a lot. It can cause problems from that angle because you've come across kind of in a weird way. It's a weird energy. It's a needy energy, and that is not an attractive energy for people unless you're looking for someone that can take advantage of that, because then there's this weird opposites attract sort of thing where you've got someone that's going to take advantage of the fact that you're in a bad state, and that's not really what we want, really. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I'm speaking for you right now, but I'm pretty sure that's not what you want. You want a healthy relationship, of course. So we need to identify these things. We need to understand that we've got these components of our past. And one thing a lot of us also do, and I'm going to give an example of this, and I could give past examples, but I don't. Because it's that thing where I've got a couple things from my past, right, that I have and have associated with in the past. And I don't anymore for a reason, and it's good not to. But we have that thing that happened, and we talk about it frequently with people. My mother left us when we were 12, or my dad beat up my mother every day, or my uncle molested me, or my whatever. Like, there's always some very traumatic kind of action that's happened in our lives that has sparked, probably, in most cases, this neediness, frankly. And it's something that we still associate with, so we keep it alive. We keep the flame alive. We tie ourselves to that. We label ourselves with that. We're like saying, you know what, this is what I am. Now, an example I would give, and I'm not going to say from the past, because associating with it right now, the things I stopped associating with, right, that now I'd be doing it again, so I don't want to do that. But one that I haven't done, and I don't want to do, and this would make sense, I think, as an example, and hopefully this will hold me to it, but the word guru, I don't like it. I don't like the word guru. I don't want to associate myself to that word. I don't like that to be a part of my thought process, in my mind, in what people can call me what they want. I don't give a crud. That's whatever. But I don't associate with that. I feel, one, somewhat limiting. I think I'm more than just that. How arrogant is that? But I also don't want to just pigeonhole myself into this component. I'm a lot of things. I'm a very complex individual, and I pride myself on that odd complexity, and I'm constantly trying to punch out other little areas. I'm like a hand-hammered wok, man. I'm like, bing, 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 you do it, and somehow it looks round. I don't know, I look round, but I'm really a bunch of little hand-hammered pieces of weirdness. I don't know, it's fun for me. So it's associating with these things that a lot of us do. We do it accidentally. We do it all the time in conversation. Oh, so-and-so happened. This certain happened. They brought flowers, and then they beat me on the head with them. I don't know, whatever your thing is that you constantly keep bringing up. These are, one, indications of probably where the problem came from. I've talked about astral letters we can do below. It's a great technique that you can use if there's a forgiveness issue. So maybe someone's done something that maybe you're still holding and burdening yourself with and carrying this guilt, this shame, this upset feeling. And this is creating that neediness factor. This is keeping that spark alive. This is that whispering voice in you that's like, hey, psst, psst, you're not good enough. Or they're going to come back and do this, or this is going to happen. The only way to make that go away really is to acknowledge and embrace that this thing happened. To love it, to let it go, though, is the important part. Carrying it with you. Carrying anything with you from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, is a waste of time and a waste of effort. We even shed our cells every 7 years, supposedly, right? Like, supposedly most of people are going to call me on this, but whatever. Supposedly a lot of the cells in our bodies swap out at certain intervals. And 7's the magic number that I've heard thrown around. It doesn't really matter if it's right or right. They happen. And brain cells may be different. Right? These things happen. We cycle out. We change. And if you're still dragging debris with you from your past, well, you're not, one, learning from it. Isn't that the point of mistakes? I've talked about it a lot. I think mistakes are wonderful. You should make many mistakes. Many mistakes. But, learn from them, please. Pretty please. Pretty please with powdered sugar on top. Confectious sugar, whatever. Pretty please. Learn from them. It's okay to make them. It's great to make them. If you don't learn from them, now you're just being a jerkhole. That's not cool. Don't do that. Don't hurt people and not learn lessons from it, obviously. So, look at what it is. Learn from it. Take away from it, whatever it is. Acknowledge that this happened. Yes. And you know what, Uncle, whoever, that you did a horrible thing to me. I'm going to go ahead and do some astral letters. Link below. I'm going to do some astral letters. I'm going to clear myself of this burden of feeling this way, of carrying this monkey on my back. I'm getting rid of that burden. I'm letting that go. And I'm going to continue on without it. I'm no longer going to associate with it. I'm not going to constantly tell every person, hi, how are you doing? My name's Dan, and I'm, this happened to me. I don't like being called guru, right? Like, whatever. That's going to probably haunt me now, right? I shouldn't do it any more than that. It's that same thing. See it, find it, love it, let it go. Let it go. Don't associate with it anymore. Be done with it. Let it be behind you. Let it fall away. Let that debris break off. Let go of it. Stop being it. Once you do that, the answer lies in you, unfortunately, the fix. But the fix is now available. Couple options for fixes. Maintain your own you. Like, we get in a lot of relationships. This happens with many of us. And we give up everything. We give up who we are, what we wanted. A second ago I wanted to be an actress, and then I met Joe, and Joe's so dreamy. I love him. What about your acting? He doesn't like theater. Well, doesn't mean you can't still go a girls' night out, go to a play, whatever. I mean, I don't say don't like Joe. It's a shame that he's so close-minded to theater all of a sudden, but whatever. Joe, hey, it's cool, buddy. It's cool. You're all right. You're an all right guy. It's all right. So these things will happen. Have your own interests. Continue with those things. Have things that make you happy independently of others. Have it in your control. It's very powerful. Respect other space is a very powerful thing that many people don't necessarily get. People are not necessarily objects for you, unfortunately. I know. Especially with this us pushed out misunderstanding that I think some people have. This idea that others are literally me, and so thusly I can do whatever I want. I don't know. So respect other space. If someone's feeling like you're trampling on their space, maybe stopped texting you, maybe said don't do this anymore, maybe said something and we're getting a little hurt about it. Respect their space. Give them space. Let them, maybe you're coming at this in a weird angle and maybe stepping back for a second and reassessing, right? Might be a good idea because it's not working, right? You're putting them shields up there. They're putting their dukes up. And that's not getting you where you're trying to go. So obviously you want people to drop their defenses, to open up. Oh, hey, right? Hugs, loves, embrace you into my circle. Make a circle around you. It's a good thing. Space, important. Don't be dependent on anybody, certainly. Quick example for me. After I spent my time in Tennessee and I did a lot of great stuff, helped me get on radio, a lot of great things came, all positive, every bit of it, every step of it. But one of the other things that I learned from it was I had this interesting dependence on, I was living at a place that was my girlfriend's grandmother's. She owned it. We lived there together when things were wonderful. And when that changed, she moved on with her life in a grateful, wonderful way, but I was no longer allowed to stay in said residence. And I realized I am never again going to be dependent on another. And I'll tell you what, that level of freedom has made life very easy for me and allowed me to enjoy myself in most occasions. And, by the way, when there's someone else that's also fun to be around and cool and all that, man, we have a good time, right? Because again, it's two whole people coming together and life takes on a whole new level. So sometimes fixing some of these little chunky broken parts of ourselves, not a bad thing. Dust it up, right? I get the little, at least like polish it, right? Get the rough edges off. So if someone walks by and touches it and they got a sweater on, an Angora sweater, right? And all of a sudden you got some scrapey part on you and they walk off with you got a yarn thing on you now all of a sudden, right? Like, it's horrible. Looks like you went rubbing on a sheep or what, I don't know. A better analogy. Oh, have your own interests. Huge thing. Have your own interests. What are you interested in? Do it. Have your thing. Be interested in that. Do it. Make that part of your day. Even though Joey, he was the truck driver. I'm going to borrow the truck driver from the tow truck driver. Yeah, I'm pulling him back into the story. So Joey, the tow truck driver, at least, on Tuesday nights when he goes out with his fellas and shoots pool and drinks beers and howls at the moon and shoots guns or whatever they do. I don't know what they do. These things happen. Then let them go ahead and go on and do that. But have your night where your interest, your thing. Maybe it's a book club. Maybe it's you going out with your girlfriends, right? Maybe you guys go to the rodeo and line dance and right? And you all go out and do your thing and put on your cowboy hat and your super nice boots and all that. And you start talking in southern drawls. You say things funny. And you shorten words, don't like remote control. Can you pass me the remote control? Like, where did the rest of that word go? Be social. It's one of the most important things. So many of us, when we get depressed, I'm trying to cut this down, guys, sorry. When we get depressed, a lot of us get antisocial. Pulling ourselves away from people is oftentimes one of the worst ways to feel better. Sometimes that energy of being around others forces us to be a little more social. And then all of a sudden, when we start choosing to act in a better way, all of a sudden we actually start feeling better. Oh my God, I suddenly feel better when I decided to stop being a grumpy Gus. Decided I had to talk to other people, and you can't walk around and go, I wish I was dead. And they'd be like, yeah, so what size coffee do you want? I don't know, just don't want to be alive right now. Like, you can't have conversations like that. It doesn't work. You got to be a little more friendly. So we have to, and it forces you to, and it gets you into a better mood. So be social. Last but not least, be okay with space. Not just theirs, yours. Be okay with quiet moments. Don't feel like you'd be like, oh my God, it's been silent for 5 seconds. I got to text somebody, right? Like, that's okay. Maybe see if you can double that. Try to go 10. See if you can go 10 seconds. You might be able to. I don't know. Maybe around 7.5 you break and you're like, I got a text, right? Like, okay, but at least you're bending, you're pushing out, you're expanding, right? Try to get cool with the fact that maybe you might go an hour not hearing back from somebody. Believe it or not, in today's world where everything's instant, yeah, but I might have gotten hit instantly by 20 people, and I can't instantly respond to all 20 simultaneously, no matter who you are. Yes, I can multitask, but it's still an individual conversation. It'd be cool to be able to... I've seen computer shows like that where they got two separate keyboards, and they're like, ba, 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 right? Like, and you somehow types in two passwords. I'm getting lost. This is part of what happens when we're needy. Looking at ways to identify it, looking at ways to like really embrace and love this. If it's something that you need to see a psychologist for, please, by all means, do that. I'm not saying I'm giving you advice. I'm just giving you some sound advice from I'm not a psychologist. I don't play one on TV. You shouldn't listen to people on YouTube. Go to a shrink kind of place. That's all I'm saying. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're looking at what is causing this. Why? What is it? It's okay that it's there. You don't have to be like, no, it's cool. You got it. Astral letters, sometimes an easy way to get through forgiving. There's erasing techniques or stuff like that. So there's some other techniques that are similar. I don't usually talk too much about those, but I like the astral letters. It's my gig. It's my thing. It's not. I didn't invent it. It was taught to me by my teacher, and it was awesome. And I've used it many a times. In fact, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, there's a place in my life I should write a couple of these right now for myself. So astral letters, link below. Great way to help get through some of these pain points. So hopefully this makes a difference, because for a lot of us where we're just manifesting something and we're not okay with it happening when it happens, You need to look a little bit into this because there's probably something to this. And if there's some sort of fear at play, that fear will tear you apart. That fear will be that chunky, scratchy part that just hit the Angora sweater. You're going to yank your manifestation out like a freaking string, right? And you do all this hard work. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, but you just keep having these moments that you grab someone's sweater and drag it down the street with you. We need to put a stop to that. We need to see if we can buff out those rough spots. And once you do, you'll probably find things start to get smoother. You start noticing almost overnight things are improving. You're starting to see the signs again that maybe you haven't in a while. Things are starting to happen, and you're seeing the difference. Neediness is a very, very complex and beautiful concept, but something that really we should learn from and move past, because it is a very dangerous and damaging relationship killer, if you will. So hopefully that helps with you guys. More great shows coming. Please, contact me if you need to. People have been doing a lot, comments. Go to the About section in my channel. Let me just save you the comment. Go to the About section of my channel. There's an email component in there. If you want to do that, go that path, and all that good stuff. So hopefully that helps. Appreciate each and every one of you. I don't know if we'll be doing a show tomorrow. We'll see if I can get one cut out. We'll try my best, but we'll see. But anyways, I'm getting better. But I am, more great stuff coming your way. Dan Radio Style.